everyone. Welcome back to the Wednesday workshops. I am Ryan Scott, and we're going to get ready here in just a minute. All right, here we are. We're going to get started here. Welcome everyone to the Wednesday workshop. Having a little bit of a technical difficulty here getting started, but I want to welcome everyone to the stream. Just a second, I am going to get this chat where I can see it, just in case anybody has any questions. You can always enter them into the chat room. Trying to get that where it will go, where I can see it all the time. All right. So welcome everybody. It's good to have everybody on today. Today is going to be a little bit controversial as far as conventional knowledge with marketers, because I believe that we're going in a different direction going into 2020 when it comes to content marketing. And I'm excited to share what I have today because I think it's going to bring on some light bulbs and basically set us up to be something that can actually win in 2020 with content marketing. Content marketing as a strategy is no longer really a viable strategy. Before, it's worked for years. And it's worked the same way for years. And people that were doing content marketing were beating up on the people that were not doing content marketing. But now everyone is doing content marketing. And when everyone gets in, suddenly the strategy ceases to be a strategy. That's what we're going to talk about today. And then we're going to go into what does that mean for the future. And if you're watching on our website, I recommend that you click the link that takes you to YouTube. And if you're on YouTube right now in the chat, if you want to just send me a message, let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. Maybe I need to get a little bit closer to the microphone, but just let me know if you can hear me. Thank you, Prasad. He is saying hello. Where are you from, man? Anybody else out there want to give me a message? Let me know that everything's loud and clear. We can jump right into all of this. All right, well, we're just going to go on. Prasad's at least here. I know there's other people out there. You're lurking. You're not engaging. Hopefully you'll engage by the end of this. Thank you, Ryan. Prasad is from India. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in today. So we're going to jump right into where do we go from here with content marketing? Where do we go when everyone is doing the same thing, right? And so over the last 10 years, content marketing has helped a lot of people win, including us. I've built tons of traffic for my clients, and that traffic's turned into leads, and those leads have turned into customers. Over the last 10 years, we're doing a lot of that. But what we're seeing now, oh, hello from South Africa. Wow, we got people from everywhere. Welcome to the stream. What's happening is we were winning so well because, we were taking companies in industries, and those companies had Intersect Revenue Academy. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you being here today. We were winning because we were taking people in industries, and the competition for content was very, very low because nobody else was doing it. And so when we started doing it, we were different, right? But then everyone starts doing it, and suddenly it becomes a commodity. And when content marketing is working in a commoditized fashion, then winning with content marketing has to take a different approach. It has to shift. And that shift is coming. And the ones that are on the front end of that, I believe they're the ones that are actually going to see a ton of results in 2020. And the ones that are still kind of trying to do it old school, as if they're the only ones creating content, they're going to start losing and they're going to fall behind. And so I want to, this is completely, my opinions today. I'm shooting. I know it's going to be a little bit controversial, but this is what I see from the standpoint of doing content marketing for a long, long time. I consider myself a content marketing guy, and I just see this coming. And so it's either bad news for the person that won't change, or it's great news for the people that are going to be on the front. And I think this for everyone here is going to find this great news. And then at the end, after this, we'll have about 15-20 minutes of Q&A session. We went kind of way over last time, but we'll have a little while of Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, you're going to want to type them into into the YouTube chat there, and I will get to them as soon as we start. So let's just jump into this then, and I'm going to switch to the desktop full screen, and you'll probably hear my mouse clicking. My Stream Deck, for some reason, is not working today. So that's what I was trying to figure out at the beginning, and I pushed the buttons and nothing's working except for the music. I can turn on the music, but we'll do that at the end. All right, here we go. Content marketing. Let's talk about the bad news first. Content marketing as a strategy is no longer viable. You can't stop doing content marketing. That's not what this is about. You'll understand as we build context here and get into the meat of this presentation. But as a strategy, when nobody else was doing content marketing in an industry, let's pick an industry like telecom providers. When no one was doing content marketing, you could go in there and create content addressing customers' questions, get found on Google, and drive tons of traffic. And that was the strategy. No one else is doing content, so we're going to go out and do content, and we're going to do it this way. And it was a strategy that worked. But once everyone starts doing content marketing, it's no longer a viable strategy. The strategy gets commoditized, and therefore the strategy becomes a tactic. You can't stop doing the tactic, but you do have to adjust how you implement it. So let's look at some context here, and then we'll go on. Many years ago, the mail service looked like this, the Pony Express. And I don't know if it looked exactly like that or not, but you had horses that were carrying all of the U.S. mail from place to place. And they would have these intersections where one rider would come in and pass off the mail to another rider. And they had this great system going, and it worked for a long time. They were fast, as fast as you can be on horseback. And then this happened, and suddenly horses weren't the only option, right? Carrying mail by horse or by stagecoach was, stagecoach, train, those things were the options. First, maybe it was the stagecoach, and then the Pony Express came on and said, hey, we've got horses, we've got riders stationed everywhere. That's different. And now we're gonna get your mail there a lot faster. But then here comes the car, and suddenly speed is the horses, the amount of horses, the amount of riders, the way stations along the way, those cease to become important. And it became this, we get there faster because we have engines versus support your local cowboys. We'll ride. We've got all these horses out here. We got all these cowboys that are used to riding. You gotta keep using Pony Express, or else you're gonna put these cowboys out of work, right? But the cowboys eventually lost to the motorized conveyance. We have internal combustion engines. Our cars can go a lot faster over a lot longer, time frame. The car doesn't have to rest. It's just constant going. And suddenly, the strategy was send your mail with us because we're faster. We have an engine. They don't. They have a horse. That was the strategy. And so when they were doing their commercials, wherever they would do their commercials or advertising, it was about, look at this car versus this horse. But now today, this is kind of what it looks like. Not only does everyone have cars and vans and, trucks, everyone has a jet. DHL has a jet. Prime has a jet. UPS has a jet. The United States Postal Service has a jet. FedEx has a jet. Everyone has a jet. And so the the strategy of we get there faster no longer works, because every single one of these people can do overnight. They can do second day. They can do next day. Every one of them can do it. So it ceases to be a differentiator. And so if your strategy as a shipping is we're going to be the fastest, so we got to get jets. Well, everybody else has jets too. So fastest is not a strategy, right? And that's why you see it's different. Faster is no longer a viable strategy. Faster isn't a strategy because everyone has the same speed. And so if everyone is doing the same thing, you can't differentiate yourself. You can't win by just saying, well, we're just like them. Because that's basically what you're saying. If you're saying the same thing that everybody else is saying, your marketing strategy is where we're just like them. And so if content marketing is your strategy, you're going to create content. What you're basically saying is we're doing the same thing they're doing. And therefore, when you're doing the same thing they're doing, or when your marketing is the same thing that they're doing, it really just, what you're basically telling your customers is compare me with them, and then I hope you choose me. We're not we're not separating ourselves from a strategy standpoint. More than just messaging, we're not separating ourselves strategically to win. We're putting ourselves in a crowd of yellers, barkers, like in a market. We're putting ourselves in a crowd of barkers, and we're barking. And we hope that when they pass within earshot, we'll get their attention. One example of this is my wife and I went on a vacation a few years ago to the Dominican Republic. And we were at this resort, and one night at the resort, they had like this local market thing. And all of the local kind of craftsmen and people that make things, they came to the resort and they set up this market, tables everywhere. And one of the things that I noticed is that as we walked through, a lot of the tables had the exact same crafts. So I don't know if the people there actually made them and set them, because they were exactly the same as this other table. I think maybe they were buying them and doing arbitrage, right? They were buying them and then reselling them, which is exactly what we do in America. But these were supposedly local people selling things that they had made. But, you know, this guy had a carving of a turtle. This guy had a carving of a turtle. Matter of fact, you can't see it, but right here is a carving of a stingray that I bought. And right there, well, it's hard to do this on screen. Right there is a carving of a turtle that we got. But the point of the story is that we're walking through this market, and it's table after table after table after table, and every single person is trying to get your attention, right? Every single person, every table has somebody out there with that little turtle right there, and they're all trying to get you to accept a free gift. Hey friend, come here. I want to talk to you. You're my friend. I want to give you this because you're my friend. And then, since you're my friend and you took my little turtle carving, maybe you'll look at some of the other stuff I have. But everyone was doing the same thing. And we bought from one of the vendors there. We bought the carving, or he gave us the carving of the turtle. We bought the carving of the stingray. But the reason we bought from him is just because that's the table that we stopped at. There was no rhyme or reason, because everyone was doing the same thing and everyone kind of had the same products. They didn't have a strategy. What if someone was just completely different? You know, what if, you know, whatever you can do in that setting. But when you're saying, okay, we're going to do content marketing because we have to do content marketing because Gary Vee says we have to do content because our marketing agencies are saying we have to do content. Great, you're doing content, but it's not a strategy because everyone is doing it. Everyone is the same. And that's why you see FedEx and UPS. Let me get you a better view of this. That's why you see UPS and FedEx. They're no longer talking about how fast they are. They're no longer talking about next day. They're not talking about pricing because they're super duper expensive. But now UPS is calling themselves United Problem Solvers. They used to be all about, you know, we handle logistics, but now they're the United Problem Solvers. They solve problems. So if you have problems, UPS can help you. And if you've seen their commercials, I absolutely hate their commercials, but they've got the commercials like, we do much more than shipping, and they have the person that's like, we do printing, we do, and everybody leaves and time passes and they're still naming off all the stuff that they do. To me, that's like saying, wow, you're a boring company that no one wants to talk to, which is exactly what their ad says, right? But UPS is kind of marketing the fact that they're more than shipping. Now they're saying, when it comes to shipping, we're your problem solver. And FedEx is doing the same thing. There's what we deliver by delivering. They're not talking about we deliver your package, because everyone delivers your package. DHL will deliver your package. What they're talking about is, if you ship through us, you become part of this story. And so they're telling customer stories like, we delivered this bicycle, overnight so that this little girl could have a great birthday or whatever. And that makes everyone want to be a part of that, want to have that same story, because they see the family now, and the family's all happy and it's a perfect family, no problems, and that's kind of the vibe that they're wanting people, that are sitting here and their kid doesn't like them, and their kid just spends all their time on playing Fortnite, and they're arguing with their spouse, and they see this commercial and birthday's coming up, and that's marketing. We're trying to get people to want the payoff, not necessarily the product. And so FedEx is now doing this thing where we deliver by delivering. So if you ship your kid's birthday present with us, then suddenly your family's going to be perfect. That's kind of where they're going with that. But you see that no one is saying we ship overnight. No one is saying we get there faster. No one is saying we've got jets. No one is saying any of this, because they have to differentiate themselves. They have to be different. And that's why the good news is, when everyone's doing the same thing, the one that's different wins. The one that can separate themselves. The one that does it just a little different. The one that does something new, right? That takes a different approach. They're the ones that will win, because everyone else just becomes this circle of barkers, and everyone's barking. And so when your customer comes through that circle and they pick you, it's not because, yes, we're doing content marketing, they picked us, we're winning. It's just because you're the table they decided to come to, right? Seth Godin actually highlighted this a long time ago. And if you do not read Seth Godin's books, you need to read Seth Godin's books. The guy is ahead of the curve, always. He wrote Permission Marketing back in the 90s, way beyond, when people were still advertising in the yellow pages. He saw the fact that we would move into this kind of inbound-ish content marketing kind of world. But a long time ago, he wrote this book called Purple Cow. And the entire thesis of the book is, when you're driving down the highway, especially if you're driving down the highway where I'm from, in rural Oklahoma, there are cows everywhere. You pass a field, there's going to be 40, 50 cows, sometimes hundreds of cows all around. After a while, you cease to recognize the cows. You cease to notice them, because they're all pretty much the same. Some have horns, some don't. Some are brown, some are black, but they all just become the same. But what Seth Godin is saying is, you're driving down this highway, suddenly, in the middle of, all marketers are liars. It's very true, except for me. I don't like to lie. I actually have that book. It's over there somewhere. Yep, right there. Actually, just a second. This is live, so I can show a little bit of personality, right? Here's Seth Godin. I have a Seth Godin action figure. So I've got all of his books. If you can see wow, it's hard to do this. Right there is just all Seth Godin books. There's the Purple Cow. There's All Marketers Are Liars. Anyway, big Seth Godin fan. If you don't read his books, you need to go read his books. Anyway, what he was saying is, when you're driving down, all these cows become the same. Then you see a purple cow, and suddenly that stands out, because, wow, what is going on? Why is this cow purple? It will get your attention. And at the end of your drive, you could pass hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cows, but you're going to be talking about the purple one. You're going to tell people about the purple one. You're going to take a picture of the purple one. You're going to remember the purple one. So when everyone's the same, doing something different, is what wins. And that's what I think you're going to see big time here, because this is what everyone else is doing. This is what we've done for years. I'm going to be honest. This is what we've done for years because it worked. It worked really, really well, but it's changing now. And when everyone is doing the same thing and the market doesn't want that anymore, it's worse than a commodity. So, HubSpot has the attract, convert, close, delight. We've ran awareness, interest, desire, consideration, decision. This is the funnel. You get someone in the awareness stage, you bring them through your content, you get them interested, you get them to wanting your content, you get them to considering you versus your competitors, you bring them to a decision, and then you try to close the sale. It's the funnel, right? And it's funny because HubSpot used to put blog right up here at attract. Blog and SEO and social media, because this is top of the funnel stuff, right? So you need to create top of the funnel content, but then you need middle of the funnel content, and then you need bottom of the funnel content. You need all this content. You need email series that when someone converts on your top of the funnel piece, then you're going to nurture them and offer them something in the middle of the funnel, and then you're going to offer something at the bottom of the funnel, and then hopefully sales can take them then and drive them on, and you got all of these pieces. And this, it looks simple in a graphic, but it became very, very complex. It became very, very hard to create this engine, because you have all of these different moving parts. You have leads that are at tofu and then or top of the funnel, and then they download something that's bottom of the funnel, and you have to figure out, well, how are we going to I just knocked Seth off my desk. How are we going to manage the automation if someone steps out of line like that? And if someone steps out over here, how are we going to make sure that we're not sending them middle of the funnel content when they're at the bottom of the funnel now? And if they downloaded the bottom of the funnel offer, does that really mean that they're bottom of the funnel, or did they just, do something on accident? We had all of these different things. So we were creating content, and trying to manage it. And it became very complex, even though it's a very, very simple graphic. But it stopped working, and everyone feels like it stopped working. That's why HubSpot just said, do away with the funnel. Now we're going to do the flywheel. And other marketing agencies said, do away with the funnel. Now we're going to do the cyclonic thing. And so it's not just, tofu, mofu, bofu now, but now you got to create pre-awareness content. Now you got to create awareness content. Now you got to create educational content. Now consideration content. Now evaluation content. Now rationalization content. Now decision content. Now ongoing delivery content. And then it starts all back over. And it's no surprise that agencies that sell content marketing are saying you need all of this content. Right? I'm just saying it how it is. But if everyone is doing this, what does the customer want? Everyone is saying you got to do all this content. Matter of fact, this is Gary Vee's video from like yesterday, 22 hours ago. I just took this screenshot. This is his latest video. The internet decided between quality versus quantity. The internet's decided. It's quantity. That's his message. It's quantity, 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 quantity. There is not a disconnect. Notice, Gary Vee is not a dummy. He's a great marketer. He has an agency that sells content. Right? So obviously his position is going to be, you need more of it. Now he's not wrong. You do need more content. You do need to impress. You do need to adopt the quantity mindset. You got to publish and publish a lot because everyone's publishing. So yes, you got to have quantity. But here's the question. What is quality? If the internet has decided you need quantity over quality, or actually, I think what his standpoint in that video is, you need both, but you have to have quantity, right? You need both, but you have to have quantity. But what's quality? If the internet has decided between quality and quantity, what's quality? Is it subjective? What's your definition of quality? Does anybody know? I don't think you do, right? I don't think you understand what quality is. You have your idea of what quality is, but is quality grammatically correct? Is quality helpful content? Is quality error-free content? Is quality content that's not got any typos in it? Is quality content that addresses the question that the what's quality, right? And I think quality, in my definition, is much different than what a lot of people think when they think quality. For a lot of our clients, for the most part, they think quality is something that doesn't make them look bad, right? So if you have a typo, um, this is just me being completely raw and honest. I've never had anyone say we didn't buy your product because we saw a typo in your blog post. Never. Yet I have had clients before that freaked out because we had a typo in a blog post. You just go in and fix it if you find it. But most people aren't going to notice it. And those that do are just going to say, hey, there's a typo, just like you do when you're reading the news. There's typos everywhere. So quality can't be grammatically correct. It can't be helpful. It can't be just error free. If that's your idea of quality, I think that you're thinking of quality wrong, right? I think when you're talking about quality content, it is the content that your customer considers quality. If your customer's most important issue at hand is to read something with no typos in it, by all means, proofread your blog post 1,500 times before you post it. But I don't know of anyone in that kind of business area, right? What does your customer want? If your content does not address that, then you're not creating quality content, in my opinion. If your customer is not getting what they want, really what they want, then you're not creating quality content. So you need quantity, but you also need quality. You need to create a lot of it, but every single piece you create needs to be giving the customer what they want, what they need. And I think a lot of people are falling behind on what their customers want. That's what we're here for. The customers don't want the cyclonic thing anymore. They don't want all of this content. They don't want to jump through the hoops of your funnel just to get to the information that they need, right? I think it's changed. 10 years ago, people were so sick of talking to salespeople, they just wanted it to go away. That's what permission marketing was about. I'm going to come to your website. I want to download your lead magnet, but if you got a phone number form on there, I don't want to submit it. I don't want anyone calling me. And I think to a point, they're still kind of like that. They want to be the proactive one. They don't want to receive a call unless they click call me, right? They don't want to, download an ebook and then get a phone call 2 minutes later. I think that still annoys people. But I think the desire of what they want out of an experience on your website is much different than this. It's much different than this. It's much different than this, and it's much different than that. So where do we go from here? What do they want? How do we step out front? How do we change our content? How do we become different? How do we become the content marketing purple cow? Well, you got to go here. We talked about this a little bit last week. I think it was Christina that brought this up. We have all of this stuff because we're so afraid of being salesy. Matter of fact, that was a dirty word for us, 5-10 years ago. We don't want our content to be salesy. And so we were afraid of the sale. Matter of fact, we built our funnel based on the slowest mover. Right? So if there were motivated buyers, we're just hoping that they jump out of the funnel and go to the bottom and convert. But we weren't going to build our funnel for the fast movers, the motivated buyers. We were building our funnel for the slow movers, for the non-motivated buyers, for the people that weren't ready yet. That's tofu, mofu, bofu. So we were creating content for the people that may be ready someday. We just want to get them on our radar, right? And then we want to get them as a lead. And then we want to push them just tiny little bit, not to the sale, but to Mofu. We took them on this long journey and we built for the slowest mover because we are hoping that the fastest mover would just go woo, and get around to the end, right? But if you take a clue from restaurants, they post, if you most restaurants now post their menu on the window outside. So when you're walking by, you can see everything that they offer. You don't have to come in. You don't have to come in and sit down. You don't have to talk to anyone. You see what they offer, and they post pictures showing you how good and tasty it looks, right? Um, but they let you see what they have to offer before you come in. The inbound way is to entice someone inside the door, get them seated, bring them a drink, and then see what they want to eat. But restaurants are saying, here's what we have to offer if you're hungry before you ever come in. And I think this is where content marketing needs to go. We need to stop being afraid of the sell, and we need to start thinking in terms of the sell. We need to stop thinking tofu, mofu, bofu, and just start thinking solving the problem, moving the customer from the need to the solution. How do we do that in as frictionless and as fast a way as possible? How do we, as a company, if someone is hungry for sushi, how do we present our sushi as a solution in the most effective way possible? In 2020, I believe every piece of content, blog post, podcast, every piece of content has to become a sales presentation. Has to become a sales presentation. It's no longer an educational piece. It's no longer an informational piece. It's no longer a nurturing piece. Every piece of content, every email, every blog post has to be a presentation. We have to turn them into a sales presentation, not just any presentation, but a sales presentation. Because it becomes this. This is the best presentation I ever watched, and I watched it live when Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone for the very first time. I think it was 2007. I was a teacher at a college. I was the marketing director or whatever at a college, and I watched on my brand new iMac, I watched Steve Jobs do this presentation. It was brilliant. At the end of it, I wanted an iPhone so bad. I couldn't afford it, but within a couple months, I bought 2 of them, one for me, one for my wife, on eBay because I wanted that iPhone so bad. It was a presentation. He knew what his audience wanted. You know, they had the personal assistant, they had the iPod, they had cell phones, they had internet, but he knew what he wanted to sell and he presented it. And by the end of that presentation, everyone knew they had to have an iPhone, that their, PDA or whatever you used to call them was no longer good. Their Palm Pilot was no longer desirable. They wanted something different. They wanted this new thing, right? And so he became the master of presentations. And that's where I think all of our content needs to go. Content domination, remember we talked about last time, is being omnipresent, but dominating content. Content marketing domination is being omnipresent. That's where your clients find you on Google, they find you on Facebook, they find you on LinkedIn, they find you on all of the different platforms that they're on. You're in front of them all the time with this content. But if you want the content to dominate, right? A little bit different, subtle. If you want dominated content, it becomes omnipresent presentations. What do you mean by that? I mean that every piece of content, even if you consider it tofu, using the outdated language, you consider this a tofu piece of content, top of the funnel. It's a presentation for the sell. It's a presentation of your solution, right? And so we do all of this inside a single piece of content, inside a single web page. We are attracting them, but then we convert them through the content. And the way that we're doing this, I'll just give you a little insight into our strategy, is that we're still creating top of the funnel blog content. We're going to be creating top of the funnel video content and social content. We're going to still create all of that. And we do a lot of you ask, we answer. So if you're asking like, who are the best, inbound agencies? We talked about that post last week. Who are the best inbound marketing agencies in 2019? Well, we want to answer that question for you. We want to, because that's how we get your attention. So we'll create like a blog post, the best inbound marketing agencies of 2019. The way that we have done it in the past, which I think is taking the tofu, mofu, bofu approach, is that we create this piece of content and we address the question. So if someone's searching for what are the best inbound marketing agencies of 2019, because they use the plural agencies and they use best, they want a listicle, right? They want a list of the top agencies. So we are going, in times past, we would deliver that and either put ourselves in the conclusion and say, hey, we're an agency too, we'd love to get your business, or we would list ourselves like as the last one on the list. So if it was a list of 7, we would be number 7. And we're hoping that when they get down through there, now somebody came to our website through Google, they're reading this, we're hoping when they get down there that they will give us a shot, right? Because we've addressed their questions, we've given them value, blah, blah, blah. It's different now. If I have their attention right now, I don't want to tell them, hey, jump into the top of the funnel, we're going to nurture you through. And I don't want to tell them just go off and, make your own decision. Here's 7 agencies. We're all barking, so just pick the barker that you like the bark the best. That's not the way to do it anymore. So how we're doing it now, we'll create the same piece of content. We'll create the same listicle, but we're going to interrupt their pattern. At the top of the article, at the bottom of the article, we're going to challenge the status quo of where they're going. So if someone is looking for a content marketing agency, down here where they become a customer, they're looking to hire a content marketing agency. So right here, they become a customer. Up here, they're top of the funnel because they're looking for the best agencies. They're looking for a list of them. And they want to, find a list so that they can compare and contrast and eventually buy down here. But if I've got their attention right here, why would I not present my case while they're looking me in the eye, right? In times past, we thought, man, that's too salesy, and you still don't want to be, slimy, like we're better than everyone else, so don't go check them, check us. You can't be like that. You still got to be tactful. You still got to be helpful. You still got to be genuine and honest, right? But while I have your attention, if I can be Steve Jobs for those 30 seconds, if I can be Steve Jobs for that 5 minutes that you're reading my blog post, what do you think he would do? Do you think Steve Jobs would say, do you want a cell phone? Okay, well, here's the iPhone. It's pretty cool. Here's the Google Pixel. It's pretty cool. And here's the Windows phone, if they still make those. And here's an Android, Samsung. Pick the best one. I think it's the iPhone, but you make your choice. That's what inbound content has been for the last 10 years. But do you really think Steve Jobs would take that approach? No. No. Steve Jobs would say, okay, here, I've got your attention and I know you want a cell phone. So let's talk about the best cell phones. Let's talk about the Google Pixel for a second. Let's talk about, the Windows phone. But then I'm going to show you what you really want, right? What you really want from a phone is maybe it to connect with all of your devices. Maybe you want a phone that when you take a picture, that picture instantly appears on your computer through the cloud. And maybe you want this. He would find a way to present the iPhone as the only logical choice. That's what we need to do with our content. We need to become Steve Jobs presenters in every YouTube video, in every blog post, in every podcast, in every Facebook Live, in every LinkedIn video. We need to become Steve Jobs and move people while we have their attention through the funnel, right? We need to move them and let them know that if you really want to make a decision, you got to make a decision now. For example, Lean Labs is an agency. We're on the cutting edge of this. You're listening to us now, and a lot of this is making sense. And you're like, wow, this is really true. I don't want to be just another piece of content on the internet, but I want to be a piece of content that actually drives ROI. I want to be a piece of content that brings a customer rather than just brings traffic, because traffic is a vanity metric. You can fake it. You can buy traffic. You can leads are a vanity metric. You can get leads that come from everywhere and they're not qualified. The number one complaint from sales is that marketing does not provide good enough leads. The leads are bad quality. That's the number one complaint. Why? Well, that's because sales is just, we just want to drive traffic, and marketing just wants to drive traffic, and we want to drive leads. And if we can drive a lot of leads and we get this lead increase, then we can step back and say, no, sales has a problem. They're not closing good enough. The leads are good quality. They're not closing enough. So you have these two silos fighting each other, when the reality is that leads are a vanity metric. So it becomes more important than driving traffic. If I have that traffic on my website, what am I going to do with it that actually brings an ROI? We're at the front end of that. So if you're looking for an agency, if you're looking for a partner, you should choose Lean Labs. We're different than everybody else. All these other agencies are going to be pushing you to create all of this content, not us. We're going to be pushing you to create presentations. We're going to be pushing you to be Steve Jobs in every piece of content. So if you want to work with someone like that, work with us. That's a presentation, right? It might be a poor one, but that is a presentation. Now you know what we offer. Now you know what we'll do. Compared to the other guys. And I guarantee you, when you go on another marketing agency's website and you see, oh, we got to create tofu, mofu, bofu content, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, or we got to create this cyclonic journey, or we got to do all this nurturing, or we got to set up, this lead magnet and that. When you see them pushing that, you're going to come back and say, you know what, this is what that dude was talking about. Because you need to attract, convert, and close them while you have their attention. Now you have to be tactful. You have to be skilled at it. It's not just this, used car salesman pitch. You have to be skilled at it, but that's where we're going. And so what I believe quality content is in 2019, 2020 is to stop jumping people through hoops and stop building for the most unmotivated buyers. Stop building content systems for the people that aren't ready to buy. Attract them in, but get them motivated and build for a faster journey. I believe the content that's going to win in 2019 and 2020 is content that takes the prospect's questions, just like we have for the last 10 years. But instead of just addressing the question and answering the question, offering a lead magnet, we present them the solution. So if someone is looking for the best inbound marketing agencies, we know that the end goal is not just to have a list of agencies. They're not going to print out that list and hang it on the wall and say, yay, my job is done. All right. If they're searching for the best inbound marketing agencies, their goal is to hire someone because they have a need that they need solved. So if I can present in my blog post, if I can make that a Steve Jobs-esque presentation, showing them that we're the best fit to deliver exactly what you need, they're going to choose us 9 times out of 10. Now, again, you go back to the purple cow, is that you can't just say we're a marketing agency and we're really good because our customer service is great. Because everybody else is saying their customer service. You can't be the same thing, just more salesy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a presentation that changes and doesn't necessarily promote what you sell, but promotes how you're different. That's the big deal. You can't go back and say, okay, we're going to do content marketing and we're going to really, really sell, but we're still pushing that we've got a jet. And so when someone comes in and they're like, how much does it cost to ship a 5-pound package? And we create this content, how much it costs to ship a 5-pound package. We can't use that piece of content, just say, we've got a jet, so you got to ship with us. We can get it there next day air if you pay for it, right? That's not what I'm saying. Your marketing has to be skillful. You have to present how you're different. You have to set yourself apart. If you want to not be commoditized, everything is getting commoditized today. If you don't want to be commoditized, you've got to be different than everybody else. The one that's different is the one that gets the attention. The one that's different is the one that wins. And so you've got to bring someone in through that top of the funnel content. You got to bring someone in from their search, the best inbound marketing agencies, and then speak to the intent of the search, the goal that the thing that they're trying to solve, and present how the iPhone is much more than the Palm Pilot. See what I mean? You have to present why you are the one that they should want. With all logic, with all emotion. How are you different? Marketing is not awareness. Marketing is not building awareness. Marketing is not lead generation. Marketing is changing beliefs with the intent of making a sale. I have to change their beliefs. They think that they just need, if someone's searching for the best inbound marketing agencies, their idea is that I need an inbound marketing agency. Suddenly everybody's commoditized from the best to the worst because their idea is I need an inbound marketing agency to do inbound marketing. And so I'm going to find the cheapest or the friendliest or, the people with the best website. I'm going to find that one and I'm going to hire that one, not because they're more qualified than the other, but because they're an inbound marketing agency and I want to buy from them, right? I want their carving of the turtle. I want their carving of, if all the inbound marketing agencies are doing the same thing, I have to challenge their belief and say, look, you're looking for the best inbound marketing agencies. We're not all the same. We don't do all the same. Inbound marketing is outdated. Inbound marketing is old hat. You need someone that's going to challenge beliefs. You need someone that's going to make presentations instead of content. I have to separate myself, and suddenly I'm the only one that's saying you got to create presentations instead of content. Gary Vee is saying you got to create content and more content. All these agencies are saying now you got to create more content because the funnel has got more complex. And I'm saying no, you got to create content that is a presentation and it's got to present how you're different. That's a different message nobody else is saying. I need to do that in my content, right? I need to challenge their belief that no, you don't just need an inbound marketing agency because inbound marketing agencies are outdated. This is what you really need. And we're the best, we're the only ones that are offering this. And this is why you really need it. When I do that, suddenly I'm out here and I don't have any competitors because all my competitors are lumped over here, including Gary Vee. They're all selling, you need more content, more content, more content. Hey, guess what? We sell content. How about you buy us? Right? And I'm over here saying, I sell content, but you don't need content. You need presentations. It's a differentiator. Content marketing is no longer a strategy because everyone is doing it. So you're not going to win simply because you implemented content marketing. However, if you can implement the tactic of content marketing better or different than your competitors, you will win. You've got to create presentations that shrink the buyer journey because people don't want this anymore. They're tired of it. They don't want to jump through all the hoops. That's why they don't want to jump through that. They want to solve their problem. And if I, while I have their attention, can solve their problem, show them the solution that makes the most sense, then I will win their business. And so that shrinks the buyer journey down. Now I don't have to say, okay, I'm going to give you this piece of content, then that piece. I shrink the buyer journey down and say, hey, while I have your attention and you're searching for the best inbound marketing agencies, let me interrupt you for a second and say, you don't need an inbound marketing agency. That's the wrong goal. What you need is an agency that can turn your content into a positive ROI. And the only way to get positive ROI out of your content is for it to drive customers, not traffic, not leads, customers. And when you start talking like that, suddenly you're different. You present why you're the best and you can win a lot more business than, just saying, oh, here's a list of agencies. Oh, here's an answer to this question. Oh, here's an answer to that question. Instead, you're turning everything into a presentation. You're putting the menu up and saying, this is what we offer and this is why it's the best choice. And I think in 2020, if you're just addressing questions, if you're creating tofu, mofu, bofu, you're going to fall behind. Your buyer journey is going to be so long and drawn out. It's going to be complex. I think the people that win are the people that are taking the inbound strategy and evolving it into this new thing that people want, which is here's the answer to your question and here's the solution to the problem that you're trying to solve. I think those are the ones that are going to win. So here we are. It's kick on some music here. It's time for the Q&A. If anybody has any questions, you can put them into the YouTube chat. If you have any statements to make, I will read them out here. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you see any problems? Do you see, are you confused about anything I just said? Just type those questions into the YouTube chat area and I will see them pop up. Thanks everyone for watching today. We had quite a few people on today. I'll wait for questions. Usually it takes a little bit of time, but Seth and I are here to answer all of your questions, if you have any. Of course, Seth is going to be silent today, but I won't be. But I really think everyone's playing in the same pool now. I think everyone is catching up. It's kind of like the laggards thing. Now everyone is jumping on doing content. Everyone is doing email nurturing. Everyone is, because they see that that's how it's done, right? Funny, there are still people advertising in the yellow pages to this day. They're still sending out a yellow pages phone book, and you could even get a job delivering these things. They ship them out like once a quarter or something. But I have family members that actually delivered those phone books, and people are still advertising in them. I don't know if they're getting anything out of it or not, but it's just surprising to me that in 2019 people are still doing the same tactics that they were doing, back in 1980. Ryan Seeker has a question. Do you have a good example of a website doing it right? I don't. That's the deal. That's why this is so. I think this is so cutting edge, because right now we're trying to figure it out. Right now, all of the entire Lean Labs team, our website is about to come crashing down, because we're going to replace everything, because we see this shift and we believe in it so much that we're going to jump in with both feet. But right now there's nobody out there that's doing it right. I think everyone is still doing the same thing that we've done for the last decade or so, and I think everyone's feeling it, right? If you're a marketing agency, if you're in the agency space, you feel it, because delivering results is harder. Before, we were like, if you go back on the Wayback Machine, you can see our UVP headline change over the years. And it used to be, we delivered traffic, leads, and customers. And our whole presentation was that if you want customers, you have to have leads. The more leads you get, the more customers, the math game. And then if you want more leads, you got to get more traffic, because you're not going to convert more leads without more traffic. And so our whole thing was build traffic, build traffic, build traffic, and then convert into leads. And by virtue of that, you're going to get more customers. We pushed that for a long time, and we were really good. We built tons of traffic for our customers. But over the last couple years, we just noticed that it's just not working the way. As traffic explodes, the amount of revenue generated, the qualified leads, the sales opportunities, they weren't growing in proportion. So if traffic grew by 80%, year over year, what we were finding is that customers were not growing at near that rate. They were so low, and we would keep just skyrocketing traffic, and it just wasn't translating directly like we thought it should. And so and it's getting harder and harder. And so what we have been like really soul searching ourselves is, what's different? If it's getting harder and harder, it doesn't mean that the tactics are bad, because you can't stop doing content marketing. You have to keep doing content. It's like, just because UPS got another jet doesn't mean that I got to cut out the jets if I'm FedEx. I still have to have jets, or I'm not going to compete. So you have to have content marketing if you're going to compete, but it's not working as well as it used to, which means the tactic is still good, but what the customer wants has shifted. And what the customer wants out of the content has shifted. That's why bounce rates are going through the roof on blog content, is because blog content, by and large, is not giving them what they actually want. It might be addressing their question, but it's not giving them what they want or what they need. And so I see everyone doing the same thing that we've done for the last 10 years. And everyone feels the shift in what the customer wants, but I don't think anybody's cracked the nut yet of how to deliver that. So I don't have any examples. This is the stuff that we're wrestling with right now, and we're coming out with a new website very soon that's going to be our first shot at this, right? And hopefully that will be an example. Check back with us before the end of the year. It's September now, October, November. Somewhere in the next month, 2 months, we're going to release a new website, and it's going to be all geared at this. Every single piece of content, every single page is going to be a presentation. And I'm super excited. We've been having meetings about it. It's going to be awesome, and I think it's going to not only just revolutionize our business, but then when we implement it for clients, it's gonna revolutionize their business as well. So, long answer to your question: no, I don't have a good example yet, but just wait, it's coming. Mandy asked, is there a benefit or disadvantage to following this approach in complex and or B2B global organization? I think the benefit is that, you know, even in complex sales, like that's actually our client is one of the things in our personas internally. We don't advertise this everywhere, but in our personas internally, our personas are businesses B2B with complex sales, and I think the complex sales thing confuses a lot of people, but I also think that with B2B organizations, one of the misconceptions I think a lot of people have over B2B is that it's company to company, when there really is no such thing as a company. A company is a collection of people. So behind the B2B company is a person that is doing the exact same thing a consumer does. They're wanting to make the best choice. They're wanting to buy the best thing. And so I think when it comes to, you know, B2B organizations, we have to treat it the same. It's individuals. And if your buying process, your product or your services is in a complex space, I think that it's even more of a benefit to start doing presentations, because in the complexity, it's very hard to find the solution that you need. It's very hard to get confident in, if I apply this, it's going to solve my problems. When you're adopting something, it's very, very hard. And so if you're selling something that's complex, there's going to be a lot of fear attached to that. And I think when you're making presentations, the presentations are breaking down the fear, changing that belief, right? Marketing is changing beliefs with the intent of making a sale. If you have something that's complex or B2B and you're selling something to them to solve a problem, regardless, you're talking to a person, and that person has reservations or fears. You have to take how they're thinking about it and change their beliefs so that they understand that your solution will actually deliver what they need. So I think the benefit of this approach absolutely fits with complex sales organizations, absolutely fits with B2B. I don't think there's any disadvantage in it. The disadvantage, I think, is that it's different, and so getting buy-in from stakeholders that this is what we need to do might be a little bit more difficult. I think there's going to be a lot of people over content that don't want to make presentations. They want to do the old thing because it's what they've always done. I think that's the disadvantage. Adopting the new way, being salesy again, only tactfully salesy, is a shift that early adopters are going to adopt and win, and then you're going to have the adopters that come in, and they're going to win, not as much, but they're still going to win over all their competitors. Then you're going to see the laggards come in and say, you know what, maybe we do need to talk about our offerings a little bit more. Maybe we do need to talk about ourselves a little bit more in our content, where we've traditionally shied away from that because we didn't want to be salesy. Now we're talking about why we're different, why we're the best choice. I think that's the advantage. I think the disadvantage is that it's so different that people are going to be slow to adopt it, and it's going to be hard to get buy-in from other marketers that don't see the vision. Menuba, I hope I pronounced that right. How do you convert the stakeholder to accept the non-traditional content for intranet content? What's your idea of better content to attract the employee on all levels to create that shift? Well, that's kind of where I was going. I hadn't even read that question yet, but I think for intranet content, um, I'm not really sure. Uh, I think for an intranet, and you might have to correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're talking about is like internal content, internal communications. For that, I don't know. I think it might have a place. Like if someone internally is trying to solve a problem, and so they're going to the intranet and they're searching for, how do you fix this bug or fix this in the cash register? How do you do X Y Z? Um, if there's an underlying problem that's leading them to that, and you can address that problem in the content instead of just like old school manual, like if this happens, do this. Maybe you could say, if this happens, you should do this, but then do this to make sure that never happens again, or something. If I'm getting your intranet question correctly, uh, the approach could have that, but I'm thinking more along the lines of marketing. One of the things you could do um, if you're using your intranet to onboard people and get people bought into the vision, get people bought into the branding, get people bought into what the company stands for. At Walmart, I used to work at Walmart, and we had the Walmart chant after every meeting: give me a W, give me an A, give me an L, give me a squiggly, give me an M. We did this, and everybody was supposed to get woohoo Walmart. But I think that's kind of old school. If you're wanting to kind of accomplish that goal, then I think this absolutely applies, because someone is reading a piece of content on the internet about, how to handle a customer complaint or whatever. If you can then take that and shift it and address the deeper lying issue to get them excited about how you're different, how your customer service is going to change their ideas one way or another. I think that you can bring in the exciting motivational piece of the underlying issue and do a lot better with the internal content. But when it comes to getting all the levels of employees to create the shift, I don't have a good answer for that yet, because like I said, we're still wrestling with this. I see what needs to happen, but how it's executed, the optimal way, the best way to execute it, we're still working on. So I don't know how to get everyone involved and engaged in that shift, other than to maybe host a workshop like this. And to host a workshop like this, go back to the way that Steve Jobs did it. He always talked about, kind of where we're at and all the stuff that we have, kind of the status quo. And then he would give you a what if, and then he would present this new kind of opportunity. What if you could have 1,000 songs in your pocket, and a phone, and the internet all in your pocket? What if you could have one device that did all of this? What if you could get rid of your Palm Pilot and your phone, your iPod, your internet browsing? It all came from one device. He implanted that dream inside of you, like, man, that would be such an awesome device. We hadn't thought of it yet. We hadn't even had that idea, but wow, wouldn't that be awesome? And I think when he then says, okay, here it is, you can buy it, everyone wanted it so bad because they didn't even know it existed. I think if you do that kind of presentation internally and show everyone the old style and kind of how its limitations are and the problems with it, and the fact that it's basically Me Too marketing, and you can kind of present that idea, and then say, but what if every blog post made us a purple cow? What if every blog post put us away from all the competition? What if, and you start building this, what if we were different? And then say, this is how we go different. I think you could get a lot of buy-in, but it has to be a workshop. It has to be a presentation. You have to sell them on it. In other words, marketing is sales. It's not separate. And I think one of the biggest benefits of this shift is that it takes marketing from being marketing and handing off to sales, and it becomes marketing is sales and sales is marketing. And so those silos are finally broken down. And if marketing is not driving customer conversion, if marketing is not driving an ROI through customer conversion, then they have to step back and say, okay, how do we fix our presentation? What's wrong? Are we talking to the wrong people? And sales is going to start saying, this is what's happening, and we need something else. And they start communicating and working together because they're both the same. I think that's one of the huge benefits of taking this approach, because the North Star metric of the new style of content marketing is not traffic and it's not leads. It's MQLs, qualified leads, and SQL, sales qualified. Those are kind of the metrics, and those translate directly into more sales. I think that's the byproduct of a shift like this. Spot on with name pronunciation. Thank you. Yes, I'm trying to convince client about workshop for all who needs to be involved, as they are the subject experts, but I provide the solution to one. Exactly. So you face the same problem that we have. A workshop, I know, like Marcus Sheridan from Impact used to be the sales lion. He's the guy that kind of coined the term "you ask, we answer." He's feeling it too. If you follow him on LinkedIn, he's feeling it too. So he's starting to challenge the traditional concept of agencies. But one of his big deals for years has been, if you want to win, you have to have a company workshop with everyone in there, and he's going to come and he's going to present, because it's all about buy-in. You have to have buy-in, and you can't get buy-in by just saying, here, help me with this. Because they've already got a job before you start working with them. So if you go to subject matter expert who's already overworked and you say, okay, I need you to take an hour and help me understand your space, they're going to be like, I don't want to. And so it's going to be like pulling teeth. So, but if you can get everybody in that's going to be involved in a room or even in Zoom, like a webinar, and present the case and show them the brand new world, how it's going to be different if they help accomplish this goal, how it's going to drive more sales, how it's going to drive more attention, how it's going to help grow the company, how it's going to help them meet their goals. If you can present it in that way, you'll get much better buy-in, and then when someone is bought in, they're game to help. So I think a workshop is absolutely a great way to do that. But you're going to have to make a presentation to the client to get them to okay the workshop for everybody else. Everything is a presentation. Everything's a presentation. So I think you're spot on. Getting buy-in from the client it's everything. But it's also a balance. Like, a client that's hired you to be an expert, you can't just let them dictate what you do. You have to go in and do what you know is going to work. And so it's kind of a balance. I've got clients that basically anything that I say, this is what we need to do, they're like, okay, let's do it. It's my favorite clients because we're winning with them. I have other clients that I say, this is what we need to do, and it's a long process to finally come up with what we actually do. And sometimes I have to balance pleasing them, and because they're the customer, I have to give them at the end of the day what they want. And if I don't have buy-in with them, sometimes it can shift into, okay, we're just an outsourced content creation space, or they're telling us what to do and we're executing. And just about every instance like that, we're not winning as much as we are with the clients that are like, go do it. But it's a balancing act. And once the client has buy-in that, yes, what you're wanting to do is how we win, once we have buy-in with that, everything else works so much better, and it's so much smoother. So buy-in is absolutely essential in my book. Any other questions? I know we're over time now. If anybody else has any questions, you can enter them into YouTube. If you want to work with us, you can go to lean-labs.com/schedule and schedule a meeting with me and Kevin. Kevin is our CEO and founder, and meetings with him are usually more productive than meetings with me. But you can schedule a meeting with me as well if you go to lean-labs.com/schedule. We can talk about how to implement this for your company. Granted, we are still trying to kind of figure it all out, but we're getting close, and it's going to be exciting over the next few months as we implement this shift and completely jump out of the red ocean of marketing. It's going to be awesome. I don't think anybody else has any questions, so I'm going to end today. Thank you so much for watching. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff like this in the future. We're going to be doing a lot more live streams, workshops like this. Hopefully it brought some value to you. We're going to do some tactical things. We're going to do some mindset things. We're going to do market shift things kind of like this in the future. So if you're on YouTube, go ahead and click the subscribe button. If you're not, jump back over to YouTube and click the subscribe button so you always get that. If you want to have a meeting with us, if you want to see how we can help with your marketing, go to lean-labs.com/schedule, and you can schedule a meeting with Kevin or myself, and we can talk about your business and about how we can better help you. Other than that, this is Ryan Scott. I'm the head of growth marketing at Lean Labs, and I've had a lot of fun today with you, and I will see you next Wednesday. And I'm going to actually put a link into the thing here before I leave. And this link will get you to the live workshops landing page where you can register. If you're just finding us on YouTube or you're finding us from somewhere else, you can enter this link and you can go register. And every time that we have a workshop, we will send out an email beforehand. We'll explain what we're going to be covering, and you can decide whether you want to attend or not. You go to that link that I just pasted into the YouTube chat. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you on the next Wednesday workshop. Have a good rest of your week, and hope you go out and just crush all your goals. See you later.